Well, hello there. It's been a little while. I've been in bed really sick for the past 4 days. And I just had a great talk with a colleague, and I'm feeling in the mood for some authenticity. So I'm going to allow myself to be a little stream of consciousness here and speak from the heart because that's what my brain does. And I'm not this smooth, linear, articulately necessary type of speaking. I'm scattered sometimes. And it's important that you see that and that I'm willing to show up like that and that I'm able to get from point A to point whatever consonant my brain ends up around. And it's okay to be a little scattered and get to where it is you want to be. The point is that you get there, okay? With that being said, I wanted to share a takeaway from the session I had this morning with a client. It's a client who is very, very withdrawn and reluctant to reach out for help. So I spent time helping him introspect and figure out what are the decisions he's made or the beliefs that he's had about how to proceed in life, what's dangerous, what's safe. And I asked him, when you are having the experience of frustration or anxiety, and the way I differentiated those two for him is that frustration is what you feel when you're suddenly stuck, like something you're trying to do isn't working. That's usually when you feel frustration. Anxiety is more fear around you feeling helpless, out of control, like there's nothing that you can do. And I encouraged him that when he feels frustrated or anxious, to reach out to me so we can explore what's behind that. And what I shared with him specifically is one of the difficulties or the traps we fall into when we're used to bumping up against help that's just not available for us, or someone tries to help but it's not the help we need, or we have difficulty articulating what the problem is. We have this accumulated experience that tells us help is not available for us because every time we try to ask for it, it's not there, right? So, what I encouraged him to consider instead was instead of thinking help's not available to me and cued into this belief of his, I'm in this alone, or some variations. It's all on me. It's my responsibility. I need to do it independently. See, we get this message from school growing up that we need to do things independently without help. And unfortunately, that becomes far more toxic when we spend our lives bumping up against people that don't seem able to help us. So that idea of independence or needing to do it alone really gets hardwired. And finding trusting people that get you and can help you so that you learn you're not alone, they can be hard to find, which is one of the reasons why I'm sharing this message. Because I'm like this. There are other people that are neurodivergent in the same space as me who are reminding you you're not alone. There are those of us that do get it and can take the time to help you figure out what is standing in your way. And many times it begins with a belief, the belief that I must do it alone. I am in it by myself. And another belief I want to point out, and this speaks more to the executive function challenges a lot of us with neurodivergence have, and that is when you start bumping up against a problem, a difficulty, the tendency is to simply stop. And some of the phrases that I've heard around this are, well, I tried my best. I can't figure it out, so I give up. Or you rationalize it and say, well, I never wanted to do this in the first place. When what's really happening in a lot of cases is that you don't know how to solve the problem of getting around, getting through, getting over whatever is standing in the way. And because you've decided, I'm in this by myself, there's no one there to help me, you give up because if you can't think about it by yourself, as far as you're concerned, there is no solution. It's simply the way it is. So a lot of procrastination that you see, a lot of excuse making, the I don't want to do it, the hemming and hawing, could be driven by a belief that I've done all I can't figure it out, I'm only going to fail, what's the point? And anybody who continues to try to get me to do this is trying to make me look bad by getting me to do something where I'm going to feel and look stupid. See, all this is happening underneath, and what adults see as resistance, stubbornness, bad attitude, non-compliance, whatever you call it. And it all boils down to this belief that makes them stuck, disempowered, the belief that they can't do anything. So what I ultimately suggested to this client, and it's food for thought for all of us, is I asked him, when you get in those moments where you feel stuck, instead of reinforcing this belief that you're in it alone, that there's no help available for you, you instead ask yourself, is there an action I can take to improve the results I'm getting? Something different, something in addition to what I've been doing. And then I told him, if you can't think of it yourself, that's when you ask for help. And in a previous conversation with this young man, he had said, whenever I ask for help, I feel like I'm losing something. Like it's a giving up. It's a quitting. And I said to him, if you lose anything, you're losing confirmation of the belief that you're in this alone. You're being reminded that there's someone there for you to collaborate with, to be supported by. This idea of someone contributing to you, of you accepting help, really flies in the face of those beliefs that you're in it alone, because there's so much reinforcement for that throughout your life. And it's not because people didn't want to help you, it's because they didn't know how. So beginning to find the people that you know will be there for you, letting them in baby steps. It's not like one day you decide to throw open the vest of your vulnerability and say, come on in, folks. It's raw as hell. I'm trusting you to do exactly what it takes to help me dispense of this limiting belief that I'm in it alone. No, it's going to take time. It's going to take some trial and learning. But there are those of us who are absolutely committed to the long haul with you, because you deserve to feel like you belong and be part of a community and learn to experience everything that you have to give the world. But that's going to be more difficult so long as you live behind fear and frustration. And for good reason. I lived that way for decades. I can't deny it's very difficult to be very action-oriented and optimistic when all you seem to hit are walls and find no doors. But what I'm telling you now is that the doors exist. I've found many of them. And hopefully I've become one of them. So that when we step into each other's lives, I can teach you what I've learned so that I can help you meet frustration and confusion and so forth. Meet it with confidence and a resourcefulness and a willingness to include people in the problem solving so that you can win together, so that they can help you win and celebrate your win and feel grateful for you. There's so much to be had, and I don't want to talk forever about this, and I could. The key takeaway here is that your past does not equal your destiny. Just because you've continually bumped into people that can't or won't help doesn't mean that they speak for humanity. They speak for themselves. They speak for where they were in that moment. There are times where I feel too sick or too overwhelmed to help. Those days happen to all of us, but the rest of the time I show up as best I can. So I hope you don't count people out because you happen to meet them during one of their worst moments. There are far more to us as human beings than our imperfections. So we can't continue to disqualify and discredit people because they're human. That's exactly why we need each other. Because we're imperfect, we help hold each other up and help make each other stronger by lending our gifts to one another. And the more we can show up for each other as human beings and for the neurodivergent community, allowing them their humanity, because I'm telling you, we wear our imperfection on our sleeves. We really can't avoid it. And in one respect, that is a powerful modeling to the rest of humanity. To show up with all of your quirks, with all of your eccentricities, with all of these imperfections, because you know what? They don't hurt a fly. The only thing they do is bring a lot of unfamiliarity to the table because we don't follow these social conventions, which, for the most part, are never questioned by anyone. They're simply accepted and practiced as though that's how we do things. No, that's how you're conditioned. But that doesn't mean that's what's most effective. Another conversation. I wrote a whole book about that. So I'll close up now because I want this to generate conversation. So hopefully we will have some questions about this, some ideas, things that I didn't think of, which happens all the time. And we can continue this conversation because it's in having the conversation that we begin planting the seeds of change. So let's leave it with that and let's start there. So thank you so much for watching. If you can think of anybody that can benefit from this, please share it. And I have a lot of programs and courses to really help along this line of thinking and work. So if you're interested in any of those, drop a question, send me a DM, and I'll give you what you need. Thank you again. And until next time, thanks for being you.